Good afternoon if you're in Argentina, good evening or good morning, wherever you are all over the world. I am Eleonora Salas, Director of Studies at ICANA Binational Center in Córdoba, Argentina. Thank you for joining us today in the 8th webinar of Teaching Capacity Building 2022. This is a professional development program sponsored by the US Embassy that we started hosting in 2020 in response to the challenges we faced at the beginning of the pandemic. If you have attended the previous webinars, you already know that the program consists of 15 webinars presented by committed and hardworking Argentine English teachers who are all alumni of US-sponsored professional development exchange programs. These ELT specialists are all sharing their experience and best practices as educators and language teachers in their quest to create environments that support engagement for learning. We do believe that no matter where we are in our learning journeys as teachers, we can always learn something from the journey of others. So we sincerely hope that these presentations will inspire you to bring new perspectives into your current teaching practice, whether it is in person, online, or hybrid, and that they will help you create exciting learning experiences for your students. Our deepest thanks to the US Embassy, to the Regional English Language Officer, to all the alumni presenters, and the Argentine Network of Binational Centers for their unconditional support in the organization and delivery of this program. During the presentation, you are welcome to type your questions and comments in the chat section so that the presenter can address them. Also in the chat section, you will find the link to download your certificate of attendance and also a link to download the presenter's slides. Now I would like to introduce Gonzalo Diaz, our speaker for today's webinar, Great Challenges for Great Teachers, Fostering Engagement in Class, Part A. If you have been joining us since May, you may already know Gonzalo Diaz. He is from Tucumán. He graduated as a teacher of English as a foreign language from Universidad Nacional de Tucumán. He has worked in public schools, in teacher training colleges, and he has also developed his own private language studio, hands-on English studio. And he has been involved in different global projects. SOS for Lab Project by I Love Dyslexia, Global Connect by Happy World Foundation, and the School of Tomorrow by What If Curiosity-Based Learning. He has this motto that he loves: teachers never stop learning. And he has participated in a wide array of professional development opportunities, many of them by the US Department of State. And among these, he highlights having been a participant and a graduate of the program Advanced Certificate in English from Oregon University with a specialization in language assessment. And this is thanks to the US Embassy in Argentina. This opportunity offered him a wider and deeper view on English language teaching and bolstered his reflection on what the 21st century demands from educators. He keeps himself proactive all the time, and he is sharing his learning as part of his own growth as a teacher. Thank you, Gonzalo, again, for sharing and cascading your knowledge and experience to all of us. And thank you, all of you, for joining us today from Argentina and from all over the world. You are warmly welcome. So the floor is yours.
Hi, thanks a lot, Eleonora. Thanks a lot. Well, today we're meeting again. I'm so glad to have this chance to see you all here. I'm glad to see that some friends are there in the chat room saying hi. So it's a great experience for me to be together one more time. So I'll start sharing my screen so we can get to know what we will be talking about and sharing. Okay. So as it says here, as the title says, I wanted to entitle this twofold webinar with certain name I chose, Great Challenges for Great Teachers. This is part A, because if God wills and everything goes well, we'll meet again next week for part B. All right. So I have always thought that being a teacher is a challenging profession. Sometimes I said, okay, it's kind of hard to be a teacher. It's kind of hard to engage students into the classroom. But I have also thought, or have also learned that, well, great challenges come for great people, all right? And I believe that teachers are great. So that's how the title came up. So great challenges for great teachers, okay? Well, there you have my contact, my email, so you can contact me in any case. I will, from time to time, try to read the chat room. So if you have any question, in any case, Eleonora will tell me if there's any question also, so we can get to answer some of the ideas that may come up, okay, during this webinar. Always remember that one of the greatest things about this is that it's synchronic, so we are live, okay? We can answer questions right now, okay? And we can also be in touch for questions later after the webinar too, okay? So let's get started. Well, during this webinar, the idea is to talk about, well, why we have this topic. Okay, some ideas that will be developed is the idea of community building and needs analysis, okay? Differentiated instruction and collaborative learning. But we will see, first of all, why I decided to start with this, okay? First of all, I wanted to share that this is not material that I have developed, obviously. This is material that I have learned. And I have had this chance granted by the US Embassy here in Argentina to go through this course to study this course that is called Fostering Students' Motivation and Engagement in the Classroom. Okay, so there is where I got the title to, and where I got all these ideas, okay? Obviously, whenever I share these ideas, I try to give it a little twist on my own, or just some personal experience, or some like a little personal flavor, okay, to it, because that's how I believe it's something that I have also learned. Okay, that's why I want to share. And there you have the website, so where you can check all the professional development instances that are offered by the Online Professional English Network. Okay. And when I was accepted to this course, I got to know that this course was not only for me, okay, or not only for the participants, okay. First, okay, we were really happy to be accepted. And because as it says here, you have been given a fantastic opportunity to learn and grow professionally, okay, with peers from all over the world. I can't remember how many we were doing the course. I can't remember because we were in different groups, okay? But I had classmates from all over the world. I believe it was just two. Yeah, probably we were just two from Argentina, and then the rest from different countries, okay? And it was all thanks to the US Embassy in different places, okay? So I encourage you to visit this website and see that MOOCs are offered, okay, massive open online courses are offered. And if you finish one of those courses, you become an alumni, and so you can have extra material, extra resources from these websites. And even you have access to the forum, okay, the magazine, which is like a treasure chest of material for teachers, okay? So as I was saying, we have been accepted to this course, and we were really happy, but they told us, okay, we want to increase the course impact, okay? So this idea that Eleonora mentioned before, okay, this idea of cascading came into our knowledge as participants, okay? So first, whenever we have a cascade of sounds or events, okay, it's like you have great quantities of something falling down, and if it's water or if it's music, it's like it reaches a greater number of people, okay? So imagine that somehow that's what we felt, okay? That we were getting a lot of information, a lot of material, and we wanted to share that with teachers, okay? So in education, when we talk about cascading, we talk about sharing knowledge and experience, and why not new approaches, okay? Or approaches that have been revisited, okay? Or approaches that have been, well, valued some time ago, and now we are trying to see how we can give it a little twist, or how can it be used nowadays, because there is no, let's say, bad approach, okay? All approaches are good, but it all depends on the context, okay? It all depends on our resources, and it depends on how flexible we are as teachers, as educators, okay? So it is great to revisit some frameworks and some approaches that probably some people have forgotten, and then we may come back with new ideas and refreshing that approach, okay? So it is also double learning, okay? It's also double learning. Whenever we have students in the classroom and we invite them to, let's see, those ones which are really bright and the ones that get our ideas and are able to infer grammar rules, and all those students which are really paying attention, they are really grateful when they had the chance to explain that to others, okay? That's double learning, okay? They learned, and now, as it says here, when we teach, we learn, okay? So whenever we had the chance to offer our students the opportunity to teach other classmates or younger students something they learned, they really appreciate that. But well, the same happens with us teachers, okay? We are pushed to think deeper and harder, okay? And we help, this idea of cascading also help us to identify ideas, and somehow our doubts may be clarified by others, okay? So when we were starting the course, they told us, okay, our tutors told us that we need to cascade our knowledge. So in that case, I invited teachers, okay, from different places. And so we had a WhatsApp group. We were almost 20 teachers from different parts of Argentina and from other countries. And so we were sharing week by week. What I share week by week what I had learned, and also the material that I learned from my classmates, okay? So it's like the impact, this idea of that everything we do may impact positively in our society, in new teachers, in other teachers. That was possible by means of a WhatsApp group too, okay? And probably I hope that this webinar also has that impact, and it's not only me sharing, but you can also share with others, and whatever you learn after you just let that go through your previous knowledge and all you know, you can share what is new or what is something that you feel it's valuable with other colleagues. So it's like we are always invited to share, okay? Well, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Well, so just going to some basic concepts, okay, that are needed. These two ideas of motivation and engagement need to be explained sometimes, okay? Well, motivation, as it says here, okay, it's desire, it's willingness, it's enthusiasm that energizes goal-directed behavior, okay? So whenever a person wants to achieve something, wants to reach a goal, okay, we're talking about motivation, okay? That person has an inner motivation or a motivation that comes from outside, but this person wants to reach something, okay? So that's motivation, desire, willingness, enthusiasm, okay? And also, we hope that our students are motivated to learn, but we also hope that they get engaged into whatever we offer them in the classroom. So what we offer, it might be something that may cause this, engagement. It's the amount of attention, optimism, and passion that students show in the classroom, okay? How many times do we wish to see this in action, okay? We want to have our students paying attention, okay? It's like, okay, we plan our lessons. It's like we are in a lab before we get into the classroom, and we start thinking, okay, which will be a good ingredient to put into this classroom, into this class, which are our goals. We hope that our students may have the same goals that we have, all right? And so we expect them to pay attention, okay? Optimism is not only that they learn or that they want to learn, that they may feel optimistic about what's going on in the classroom, okay? That also is engagement, okay? It's not only that students want to learn or that they get good grades, but it's also this extra that is optimism, okay? So they might feel comfortable. They might feel positive about what's going on in the classroom. Because sometimes students may have different situations outside of the classroom, and they come with all of that into the classroom. And we as teachers are probably one of the few that listen to them and offer them a different view of things. So that also brings optimism and passion. Passion as that inner drive that might take up everything we have, our talent, our time, our attention, into a positive goal, okay? So all that is, there are beautiful words, there are awesome words that we need to pay attention, how they are working into the classroom, okay? Because students might get good grades, but if they don't feel optimistic, it's like they're just doing this as a house chore, let's say, or something that they just need, it's like an errand, okay? They just need to they just want to finish with this. But education is something deeper. So it involves motivation and it brings out engagement, okay? So when we are talking about this, this idea of motivation and engagement, there are aspects that need to be addressed in the classroom, okay? For instance, we talk about competence, okay? Competence in the classroom, okay? What's the level of difficulty that we offer to students, okay? Are our tasks too easy or too difficult? Well, that doesn't help, okay? Somehow we need to be like a craftsman trying to find the right amount of difficulty of tasks so they are not that easy and they might push our students to the next level, okay? We need to activate what they already know, okay? That's part of competence too, okay? It's part of what they already bring into the classroom, okay? We need to activate, okay? We need to involve them, to involve whatever they just know before they come into the classroom, okay? They're not empty pieces of, I don't know, they're not empty brains, okay, if we want to call it that way, okay? They're not blank slates either. They have experiences, they have learned before us, and they have learned with other teachers even, okay? So we need to activate it and bring it into the classroom so they can be involved. And then we might bring them the opportunity to discover, okay? To consider discovery as an approach into learning, okay? It's not only that we might give them all, okay? We might, I don't know, cover the whole wall with grammar rules, but is that the way that we need it to be? Or do we need them to discover grammar rules, vocabulary, ways to interact with the other, ways to use the language, okay? Remember that our students nowadays, most of them had the chance to be in contact with the language, with English, not only within the classroom, but also outside of the classroom, okay? They listen to songs, they watch videos, they had the chance to watch, I don't know, TV series at home, and so they can be in great exposure to the language, okay? So how can we bring that into the classroom with a discovery approach, okay? And also considering mistakes as learning steps. So it's not that students make mistakes by the sake of them, but how can we learn from them? How can we learn from them? How can we make them feel competent? Okay, it's not like, okay, you made a mistake, you get a lower grade. We need a different approach to mistakes. Okay, mistakes as learning steps, as something that must happen into the classroom. Okay, so we shouldn't be ashamed of making mistakes, but we should be glad that sometimes we make mistakes so we can learn from them. Okay. Autonomy. We also expect students to be autonomous. Okay. We hope that they become more autonomous. Considering students as somebody who can learn not only with us, but they can learn with other people. Okay, they can learn with a YouTuber. Okay, they can learn with a YouTuber of their choice, even. Okay, because they have also their personal language learning objectives, and it's important that somehow they are present in the classroom, that somehow they are known by the rest of the class. Okay, by autonomy, students also need more choices into the classroom. It's not only that they have one task to do, but they may have like an array of tasks so they can show how much they have learned. And why not access to additional learning resources? I just mentioned YouTubers, okay? During the pandemic, we all became YouTubers. Even here in Tucumán, just a few months ago, I remember that I got a call from a journalist and say, okay, I would like to talk to you. I say, why? Because I heard that you have a YouTube channel. Yeah, I say, yeah. How do you know? Well, we have been watching that, and we will also like you to be to make it possible for me to contact other teachers who have been using YouTube. And they say, yeah, I know many of them teachers of English, many of them teachers of math, of language, okay, of Spanish. So lots of teachers just jump into YouTube as a means of communicating with their students. And well, it was great to see, let's say, 10 of us there on the cover of newspapers with a big title, let's say EduTubers. I said, I don't deserve that name. I don't have that many followers. I don't have that many videos online. But my other colleagues, they had lots of material. So I was glad that we had the chance to bring them all into this interview, okay, for the local newspaper. Being recognized like that, not for me, I'm not talking because I felt recognized, but teachers being recognized like that made us all feel prouder, okay? Made us all feel much better about our profession too. So it was great that during the pandemic, we had the chance to offer our students additional learning resources. It was not that they could listen to our voice, but they could listen to other teachers speaking in English or in other languages or about other topics, okay? And that somehow those walls that we had in the classroom, well, they crumbled down. They crumbled down, and now the classroom became bigger and students had a certain autonomy, okay, a certain choice. And also we had to consider relatedness, okay, in the sense that students need to be connected to what's happening to the classroom. Students need to be in touch with what's going on in the classroom. It's not like, okay, today you have an exam, the students had no idea that they had an exam, or that they cannot have any kind of voice regarding content or ways to be taught, or just somehow some sort of saying into the classroom. Students need to be connected. Also, culture needs to be developed, okay, because each student brings their own culture, their own family culture into the classroom. Some of us have students that come from even different backgrounds, okay? So all of that needs to be recognized and acknowledged, okay, within the classroom, because it might sound like a slogan, but we need it to be like that. We matter to society. What's happening within the classroom matters to society. Teachers matter, students matter. So it is important. They need to know that what they are learning, it's related to what they experience in their real life, okay? It's not like we are just entering into the classroom and, well, our whole life is left outside. But on the other hand, real life gets into the classroom, and that's how students might feel related to that. Following this, I wanted to share something that has been a great experience to me this year. And I know that one of these people that I'm going to mention is there in the chat room. She's present there. And I wanted to share from two teachers that somehow they embody some of these ideas that I mentioned already. One is Keisha Thorpe. She's the 2021 Global Teacher Prize winner. Okay, we had a chance to have her here in Tucumán. Tucumán is the smallest province in our nation, in Argentina. We are in the northwestern area of Argentina. And we have held this Congress for the last 6 years. We have had some face-to-face Congress editions, and some other were online during the pandemic. And this year we came back to face-to-face modality. So we had a chance to have speakers from all over Argentina and from different countries. And from all of these speakers in this webinar, I would like to mention these two, Keisha Thorpe and Jim Alarby. Okay. Keisha Thorpe especially talked about, as it says there, about global competence and identity as important values, as really paramount values to be considered within the classroom. And teaching our students how to address their own identity and how to put that identity as part of the classroom. And that also has to do with competence and with relatedness. Okay, and Jim also talks about being goal-oriented in the classrooms. Okay, so, well, those aspects have a lot to do with motivation and engagement. And even Jima, she spoke about branding for teachers. And I say, okay, this is quite a new topic for us here, considering teachers as something that can be related to branding. And and she invited all us to shine wherever we are. It was such a great boost for all of us, thinking about whatever we bring as good into the classroom, that we needed to shine in the classroom. Okay, so it's not only that we are motivating our students, but we also need to be motivated into the classroom, to step into the classroom, whether it is face-to-face modality or online mode. Okay, so both teachers showed us how important it is to bring out the identity of the students, whatever the students bring into the classroom, and we also teachers bring a lot into the classroom. If you download the presentation, there you have their websites, okay, and you can stay in touch with them. Well, other awesome words: classroom community, needs analysis. Okay, we are all invited to create or to generate a classroom community. This sense of belonging, okay, every student matters. Okay, it's not like, okay, I'm just paid to give. I don't care if I'm paid to teach 10, 20 or 30 students. It's just the same to me. Yeah, probably the pay will be the same, but the way that we feel is much more different. Okay, and whenever we as teachers identify our students and we give them a name, we consider their face, how they feel. Okay, we are starting to acknowledge them. And then we started to weave this community within the classroom or within the institution where we teach. Okay, so we invite the students to rely on each other. Okay, and somehow share their goals and how they can achieve their goals together. All these aspects make up for a classroom community. It's how we, well, you know, you probably have heard this, but they say it takes a village. Okay, it takes a village to educate students. Well, within the classroom, we can say it takes a classmate. It takes a group of classmates. It's not only one. Okay, but we are invited to little by little create this sense of belonging. So I don't know if our students are going to wear something special for a specific day in our classroom. If we're going to celebrate, I don't know, celebrate the ones that have turned 10 this year in this classroom. I don't know, we can consider different ideas and rituals, and then I will talk a little bit about that in order to invite our students to this community. Because every time we enter the classroom, we have, it doesn't matter if it's the same group as the year before, it's like we are entering a new, okay? So we had to create this community again. We had to give them new rituals. We had to give them or reinforce different ideas that we have built up the year before, okay? And we also need to analyze their needs, okay? We are rushed. We are always in a rush. We are always, I don't know, fulfilling lots of paperwork, and we also need to plan this class and that class, and it's part of our needs. Let's say we want to make ends meet each month, okay? And it's a great challenge for us to analyze each classroom or each group of students, okay? To process, okay, their learning needs, okay? So that it can be, so whatever happens in the classroom can be adapted to meet those needs, okay? It's not only, okay, I had this book and I use this book for all of my students, okay? Whoever falls into this category of a student within this scope of age, okay, they all have the same book. Probably I might have the same book, but I might not have the same approach with all of them, okay? Because we need to analyze, okay? And we'll see what we need to analyze, okay? According to Bandura from year 2000 and Burden 2020, much recent, what matters in the classroom is developing norms, okay? What's the difference between norms and rules? Well, rules, it's like this rigid set of ideas or must or mustn't do within the classroom, okay? But what if we invite our students to think, okay, what norms do we need? It's not rules, okay? What's our north as a group? Okay, where do we want to get? Okay, what attitudes do we need to bring into our classroom? Okay, what attitudes? What are the values that we need to develop in this classroom during this year in order to achieve that goal that we all have? Okay, yeah, I know that I must not steal anything from my classmate. Okay, I know that that's like a rule, but what if the norm will be sharing my pencils or sharing my we are kind of a troublesome situation nowadays, and we want to share material with our students and among them, but as long as we considering washing our hands and whatever, okay, and all those sanitary rules, okay, we can do it. Okay, but what if a norm would be sharing my material with my classmates? Okay, because we need to share and to chat and to agree. What if the idea is that, okay, whenever we have a fight among our classmates, we first talk, okay? It's like a norm, okay? So we are all invited to do that, okay? Developing norms, okay? So we need to set our north, and then what do we need to build up those norms, okay? Believe it or not, it's important to bring in opportunities for kindness. Nowadays into the class, well, students are kind of afraid of for all we have been through this pandemic. So bringing in opportunities for kindness, it's like bringing something that is valuable, just far beyond language learning. Okay, language learning can bring us, can give us the possibility for kindness too. Okay, so we can learn how to be kind with another person by means of language, by means of gestures, okay, but in different ways, okay? And why not don't we just try to help each other in a different way in the classroom? Okay, opportunities for kindness. And then sometimes when our students are growing, we can bring that into the outside of the classroom, okay? So as a group, who can we help, okay, in our community, okay? Knowing each other is essential, okay? We love bringing that kind of activities, language activities into the classroom, okay? But sometimes we just cut them short. We say, okay, we have no time for this, so we are going to skip this. Okay, that's also part of building the community in the classroom, okay? Knowing each other, okay? Not only knowing our names or our ages, okay, but also knowing our goals or our dreams or even our fears sometimes if students feel comfortable enough to share that, okay? Always being respectful, always being open to listen to the others, okay? Collaborating to reach shared goals, because once we know our goals, we can share them, okay? And we can collaborate together to reach them, okay? And as I said before, creating rituals. I have seen lots of videos of teachers creating rituals within the classroom. From those amazing, unbelievably creative teachers who have, I don't know, put up a sign outside of their classrooms and say, okay, what kind of greet do you want today? Do you want a high five? Do you want to dance, a little dance? Okay, what kind of greet do you want when you enter the classroom? Okay, or other rituals. For instance, I have my adult students. Okay, so we try to share a cup of coffee whenever we have a meeting. Okay, and even though when we are online, I say, okay, do you all have your cups of coffee ready there so we can have our online meeting? Okay, it's like a ritual. Okay, we all want to feel comfortable. So somebody will say, no, I'm not having coffee, I'm having tea or having mate here in Argentina. Okay, so it's like bringing that warmth into the classroom. Okay, remember that we love rituals in the sense that we put it so much into those little gestures. Okay, it's like singing happy birthday whenever somebody's celebrating their birthday. Okay, it's something simple, but it means a lot. Okay, it means a lot. Okay, well, what else do we need to consider? Okay, when we are talking about building community and also talking about needs analysis. Okay, for instance, we need to consider content needs. Okay, do our students all have the same goals? Okay, probably some are traveling pretty, they have they're traveling a very short time abroad, so they have like an urgency, okay, to develop certain skills. Okay, so do we also need to consider the skills that they have already built up, or how they strong or weak? Okay, they're stronger and weaker skills. Okay, so we also need to analyze that. Learning preferences. Sometimes it seems that we teachers decide on what's the best way for our students to learn. And sure, we do that with the greatest heart. We mean no bad intention, okay? But sometimes our students need to talk and tell us, okay, I had this particular preference, okay, within the classroom. Okay, I love listening to music, or I love watching videos, or I found out this YouTuber at home while I was browsing the internet. So can I watch and learn from him or from her? Yeah, they might bring in those learning preferences into the classroom. Okay, do they like working as individuals? Do they like working as groups? Okay, do we need to emphasize any of those modalities? Okay. Is there any challenge that they find as part of what they have brought into the classroom? Any challenge in particular? Okay, it's really hard for me to listen to somebody speaking in the target language. Okay, so how can we bring that challenge into the classroom, trying to make that weak skill stronger? Okay, do they prefer dynamic classes or serene classes? Okay. As you can see, I'm a very hectic person. I'm always moving around, not only the classroom, but as you can see in front of the screen. And sometimes I need to perceive what students prefer, okay? Because some students, if we move our hands a lot, or if we do lots of gestures, it's like something is not right for them. So we also need to adjust ourselves to them, okay? It's not losing our own way of being. It's not losing that. It's preparing ourselves to share in a different way also, okay? Because that's what we expect from students too, okay? We also need to consider their personal needs, specific interests, okay? Special motivations, even fears, okay? Specific interests. Our students, how do they feel about learning? And do they have any specific idea or any specific aspect that they want to consider, okay, as their, let's say, a goal that they need to fulfill really fast, okay? Regarding fears, we talk about the use of drama in the classroom, dramatization in the classroom. We talk about different ways to make our students feel more relaxed. Well, so we need to address those fears. Probably some students feel really anxious when they need to read a text out loud. And we need to consider different ways and methods and tools in order to lower that anxiety, okay? And how can we get to and analyze these needs, okay? Well, we can do it by means of surveys, okay? Sometimes we can use online surveys, okay? We can use online surveys. okay? Or by means of language activities even, okay? This survey might be a whole activity in the classroom, okay? Find out how many, we love the find out activities, don't we? Find out people who like singing, okay, at home, okay? So that's part of getting to know them, okay? So some people like singing, okay? They might do it well or not, but they love it. So you have information there that you can bring in to adjust the processes that we offer in the classroom. And even by means of diagnostic tests, okay? So we try to see, okay, how they are doing with listening, how they're doing with writing, with speaking, with reading. And we also can invite them to provide us with extra information, okay? So if you had a chance to be in front of the classroom, what changes could you bring, okay? What activities would you like to be developed here in the classroom? Okay, so that's also part of needs analysis, and we need to sometimes we're invited to, oh no, not invited, sorry, we are hired to work with a specific group, and sometimes we are hurried. Okay, now you had to go to this unit and go to that unit. Okay, why don't we talk to our headmaster or the director of the learning center and somehow establish this idea of, okay, I need some time to get to know the group, okay? It's not only 1 week or 2 weeks, sometimes I need a little bit more of time, okay? Or I can introduce this as a language activity, so it will not be graded, but it will be part of how we get to know the students in the classroom, okay? Well, other awesome words. I'm just checking the time, sorry. Language proficiency as the level of language mastery that the students has reached, okay? That means what the learning can do with the language. Now, differentiated instruction, that's another huge aspect to consider into the classroom, differentiated instruction. Okay, instructors try to observe difference between students. And when we plan instruction to meet all of their different needs. It sounds extremely challenging, okay? I'm sure it is, but it's also a way that we can consider bringing in and including our students into the classroom, okay? And also this other concept that has been making a lot of noise lately, okay, and I hope that we can all learn more about this. It's the universal design for learning, okay? It's the way that we teach so all students can succeed. All right, so sometimes we are just thinking about the grade and we say, okay, this one is not going to pass, this other one, I hope that he gets some sort of extra classes so he can pass the exam. But what about thinking about how students they all succeed into the classroom? Well, this is universal design for learning. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about specifically differentiated instruction, okay, in this case, okay? Differentiating what, okay? How do we differentiate instruction? Okay, we can differentiate it in terms of content, in terms of processes, in terms of products, okay? So we can talk about the same topic, okay? Probably, I don't know, we're talking about, let's say, comparative forms, okay? Or negotiating meaning, but we might offer our students different challenge levels, okay? We might offer them different ways to reach goals, okay? Different challenge levels. So they are not expected to do exactly the same, okay? Probably these ones will develop the whole rules about comparison, okay? These other ones will just focus on short and long adjectives comparison. And these other ones will be able to identify them in the text. Okay, so different challenge levels. Okay, that requires us to offer students a variety of materials. Okay, and when we talk about variety of material, we're talking about probably the same topic, but different ways to approach that material. Okay, different ways to approach that topic. Okay. So a variety of materials might be offered. Some students might like comics. Some students might like short texts. Some students might be able to analyze longer texts, conversations. Okay, so it's not the first time we listen about this. Probably it's not the first idea that might come to your mind, because probably you say, okay, I have done this for my whole life. But well, that's great. That's great, because we teachers of English, we generally try to offer students variety in the classroom, okay? But this also has to do with choice. So students can choose, okay, the material that they learn from, okay? What about presentation styles? The way that we present the material may change, okay? Some students might be quite engaged by music, while others might be quite engaged by kinesthetic activities where they can move their bodies, okay? And they all need scaffolding, okay? This concept that whatever we give them, we offer our students, it is not totally complete, but we need to scaffold the experience, okay? We need something extra to consider. It's not all set on stone. It's not all just done as the plan says, but we need to adjust certain part of the process, okay? Then we can also consider differentiating process, okay? Different activities in this case, okay? That require more independence or abstraction than others, okay? So some students might be able to consider working, as I said before, with inferring, okay? Grammar rules, vocabulary, okay? They can infer that. But probably others might require to be a little bit activities that are a little bit more guided, okay? So same topic, but the activities require more or less independence or abstraction, okay? Also, something that I have been reading about and really calls my attention is the idea of using learning station, okay? Learning stations within the classroom, okay? Because students might have different chances to learn when they are learning with other students, okay? So why don't we offer learning stations, okay? We might have the same topic, but they may be approached from different perspectives in these different learning stations, okay? So probably in this learning station, they can be learning adjectives, okay, by means of pictures, okay, and matching pictures and vocabulary. But in the other learning station, they can choose to work with modeling. Okay, so they model the adjective, let's say. Okay, they model a little object that shows the meaning of strong or the meaning of weak or the meaning of other adjectives, for instance. Okay, so we offer them different ways to show that they are learning. Okay, and that they can abstract the meaning, for instance, in this case. Okay, and they can do it either in groups or as individual work. Okay, but they can choose. Okay, again, offering students the possibility of choice. And then differentiating product, okay, what they are supposed to come up with by the end of the unit, for instance, at the end of the term, okay? So students can demonstrate their skills in different ways, okay? Some will love to make, I don't know, a PowerPoint presentation, others to do some sort of a dramatic presentation for the rest. Some others will love to do a podcast, okay? Some others will love to do a written text, okay? But what is important is that we should consider that it's not possible to say, okay, one size fits all, okay, approach, okay? We need to have different ways to assess what our students are doing, okay? So assessment will be a topic that we'll talk in part B, okay, of this webinar. But it is important that we should be able to learn as teachers different ways to assess our students, okay? Because somehow we are trying to reduce these barriers to learning, okay? So we offer products that might be more connected to them, closer to them, that they might find not easier, but they might find, the students might find themselves more, let's say, called upon or invited to work with, okay? So it's not making it easier, it's making it more involving for students, okay? They can feel involved in this choice of procedure of product too, okay? Probably this would be, we're close to the end of this webinar, talking about collaborative learning, okay? So we invite the students to work together. It's not just that they group work, okay? It's inviting them to solve a problem, to complete a task, to create a product, okay, together. So each one can bring in something different into the group, okay? And this also has to do with critical thinking, okay? Because students need to think carefully how to solve a problem, okay, or how to analyze facts in order to reach judgment, okay, to reach an idea, a conclusion. Okay, so it's not only making them work together, but they also need to be critical, okay, about what's going on in the classroom. So which are the benefits of collaborative learning? They are invited to do realistic, let's say real life practices within the classroom. So they have real world skills development and authentic language practice, okay? Because they're invited to negotiate, they're invited to share in different ways with the rest of the group, okay? With the rest of the team workers, okay? It brings in inclusivity as a social skill, okay? Because not all the students are the same, not all of them are alike, but they have differences and they have to work out with those differences, okay? They need to improve the way they connect, okay? They need to improve the way they connect to each other. And their self-esteem and confidence might be increased, okay? Because they don't work alone, but they work with others, okay? So this idea of having higher order thinking skills involved, it's present there, okay? It's present there because it's not only that we might invite them to just to create something simple, okay? To come up with a simple product, but they need to negotiate, they need to talk, and they need to accept the difference, okay? So all of those benefits that are here in this slide are present when we invite them to practice collaborative learning, okay? And it is important to consider guidelines for incorporating collaborative learning effectively, because it's not that, okay, you just work in groups and that's it. No. We need to invite our students to have a purpose, to show them that they have a purpose within this activity, okay? We invite you to work collaboratively because it might bring this and that good into the classroom, okay? It's not only that we say, okay, you had to work in groups. No, we had to show them how important it is for them to work, okay? With a specific outcome, okay? This has to be the product. This has to be presented by the end of the unit. This has to be presented by the end of this group work, okay? Ground rules, okay, as we said before, rules and norms are expected to be applied here, okay? So which will be the rules or the norms of this group, okay? So we invite them to think critically, how can we work together to reach this goal the best way, okay? And also, we need to assign roles, okay? We need to assign roles, and those roles might change within the process, okay? If they're working on interviews and they want to come up with a video, probably one would have to be the interviewer, but it doesn't have to be all the time that way, okay? Some other might change, some other will be the cameraman, and some other will be in charge of script. They might change these rules because they also need to manage the time that they are devoting to this group work, okay? So we invite them to consider how well they manage time when they're working together. Sometimes that has to be guided at first, but little by little, they need to be more independent and more autonomous in this process, okay? Well, it might sound like a lot. It might sound like a lot. That's why I divided this into these two parts, okay? This webinar. Probably this has been a lot of theory, probably. Our next meeting will be a little bit more about practical activities and aspects to consider. But if I believe that we can do it, okay? We know you can do it, okay? We know we trust that we can do that. We can bring in something different within the classroom, and that, well, we can all benefit from that, okay? Because just remember, we're a community, okay? So whatever you do great into the classroom, it might cascade into great things for the rest of us, okay? Into your classroom, into your community, and into the rest of your professional colleagues too, okay? So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing Okay, just wait for part B, and I hope to see you here for part B. And I want, as always, I want to say thank you to the U.S. Embassy here in Argentina, to Nori Cerda, Giselle, and everyone who worked a lot for us teachers to be sharing, to have this opportunity, as it is the Teaching Capacity Building Program. And of course, Eleonora and Nikana for being, well, the great administrators who can make us really reach to all of you, okay, because we cannot do it without them.
Thank you, Gonzalo. And as you see, you can read in the chat that everyone is congratulating you and showing, you know, their thanks to you, because what you have done is exactly what you told us at the beginning, you know, to refresh and remind us, you know, of all these approaches, you know, and what we are supposed to do and what we should do, and also to rekindle our own passion for teaching, you know. So we need this, you know, constant reminding, you know, ourselves of all these tips. And I honestly don't want to call them tips, because this is what's essential in teaching as educators. Everything you mentioned. If we are educators, we should consider all of this. Sounds like, you know, sometimes, oh my God, it's a lot. But if, as you said, you know, we focus on some, you know, little by little, it's like taking baby steps, you know, and reflecting on what we do in the classroom. And you are also following on what Ricardo Ramirez presented last week, when he also shared, you know, this idea of universal design for learning, and that we should all explore this universal design for learning in depth, in a lot more depth, so that we include everyone, and what we design and the experiences we offer our students in our classes do engage them and also help everyone succeed, so that no one, you know, is left behind, and no one feels, you know, you pointed out these students' fears, and that, you know, it's something that will resonate with me. It has to do with how we, you know, enter the classroom and what we do, so that our students, you know, feel free and confident to share their fears, because we also have fears.
Yeah, we do. We do.
So I want to thank you, and I want to thank all your comments in the chat. You can see that we are posting the link to download your certificate. Gonzalo also shared his slides. So you're taking away a lot. It's up to you to focus, you know, and to write down all these takeaways. And we will continue next week. Gonzalo will share, as he said, the more practical part, the hands-on part of this session. So thank you very much. And thank you all for joining us today. Please register for the next webinar. The link is also posted there in the chat. Thank you also for completing a short survey with your opinion on the program. We listen to you, we read you, and we acknowledge you as teachers and professionals. So thank you all. Thank you, as you said, the U.S. Embassy and the Regional English Language Officer. And see you next week. Bye-bye.